collaboration and talent recognition. We are delighted to have with us our distinguished speaker, Dr. Manu Vora, joining us online from the United States. To formally welcome and introduce our esteemed speaker, I now invite Dr. Sridhar Ramurthy, who is also joining us online to take over the proceedings. Over to Dr. Sridhar Ramurthy, sir. Namah.
Good morning to everyone. Namah Shivaya. This is Dr. Sri Ramurthy from Dayton, Ohio. And I'm delighted to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Manu Vora. I have known Dr. Vora for over 20 years. We were both board members of the Information Integrity Coalition. It was a nonprofit based out of Chicago, Illinois, and Manu still lives in Chicago. Co-founded by the late Madhavan K. Nair. We are also family friends, going back 20 years, as I said. Dr. Vora is a distinguished academic, having completed his BTech in chemical engineering at IIT BHU Varanasi before moving to the United States, where he earned both his MS and PhD in chemical engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago, as well as an MBA from the Keller Graduate School of Management. He's the founder, chairman, and president of Business Excellence Incorporated, and brings over 51 years, more than half a century, of leadership experience guiding Fortune 500 companies alongside 33 years of teaching experience as an adjunct and visiting professor at prominent institutions worldwide. His stature with the American Society for Quality, where he has been a member for a very long time, is legendary. Dr. Vora has been heavily involved in shaping India's future educational landscape. He served on the AICTE National Education Policy, the NEP 2020 Implementation Plan Committee, and the ATAL Academy FDP's Redesign Committee, helping design model curriculum frameworks for thousands of educators. He's the only NRI on the NEP panel, so that really marks him out as a very distinct contributor to that effort. He's a passionate advocate for the triangle of success, combining knowledge, skills, and attributes, and that's something he'll be talking about today to us. He designed and delivered a massive soft skills program that has benefited over 1.2 million students and faculty members across India and globally. Myself, as one with a PhD in psychology, you now know why I like Dr. Vora. The minute he says soft skills, he got me. I'm on his camp now. He's a renowned global speaker and expert, and internationally recognized for his expertise. He was appointed as a Fulbright specialist by the U.S. Department of State for 2016 to 2023, for 8 years, and has delivered 2 TEDx talks and has given over 1,500 professional presentations globally, if you can believe it. He's also a celebrated philanthropist, and beyond his professional work, he has served as the president of the Blind Foundation for India since 1989, raising over $8 million to prevent and cure blindness. For his lifelong humanitarian efforts, he has received numerous accolades, including the 2026 Baldrige Foundation Award for Leadership Excellence in Nonprofit and recognition by the World Book of Records in London. We are fortunate to have someone of Dr. Vora's stature and expertise in global education speak to us at this inaugural 2026 Amrita University CGERMES.ai Symposium in Mysuru, India. Given his presence on the NEP, in my humble opinion, it behooves Dr. Shekhar Babu, as well as others, to pick his brains on how Amrita University could become the gold standard in educational excellence in India by following key recommendations while growing from strength to strength. We certainly hope to invite Dr. Vora to serve as one of the inaugural members of the CGERMES.ai Executive Committee to shape the center's vision and mission for maximum influence and impact. Thank you, Dr. Vora, for making the time to grace this symposium with your august presence. And if I may use a pun, your august presence is appearing to us in the month of July itself. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shri, for a very kind introduction. And I want to congratulate both Dr. Shekhar Babu and Dr. Sri Ramamurthy for conceiving the inaugural symposium at Amrita University in Mysuru campus. Now, as we all know, the world has been ushered into the AI economy. However, I'll let you know that the AI cannot replace the communication, collaboration, and judgment, which is decision making. And there are a few other soft skills we'll be diving down towards the end of my presentation. So my talk is revolving around three segments. First one, research ecosystem, then education excellence, including NEP 2020, and then soft skill for success. I'll sign off on the camera, so video will be off for preserving the bandwidth. So after each of these segments, I'll take a pause. We'll look for questions through the chat box. The moderator will ask me the question and I'll try to answer them as we go along to make it interactive. And so let me share the presentation at this point. The topic was mentioned in the introduction. The outline, I'll quickly run through my background vis-a-vis research, education, and soft skills in different domains. We'll focus on research ecosystem to start with, and then get into the education excellence by focusing on what's the current landscape in India. Then a little bit about the effective implementation of NEP 2020, where we are at almost 6 years window out of 15 years. And I'll share with you specific things AICT is doing in innovative pedagogy for improving the teaching learning processes. And we'll wrap it up with the soft skill for success. So at a very high level, I have a 62 plus years of research experience doing well over 270 projects. Started with India solo projects, coming over here, more team projects, doctoral thesis, master's project advisory, etc. Education, as Shri mentioned, 33 years teaching, over 41 years as an executive coach at various corporate houses. In the corporate sector, 51 years social entrepreneurship. I founded two NGOs. One was the Blind Foundation for India, which Shri mentioned. Another one was a medical NGO started here in the US to support my wife's medical college, GS Medical College and KEM Hospital in Mumbai, and work with various professional societies for the 38 years. So let's begin with the research ecosystem. I'm sure all the attendees, the research scholars, the distinguished faculty, people from the industry, etc., India sustainable growth and competitiveness depends on the research, both at the basic and the applied level. Now, to understand the importance of research, let's look at some of the ranking systems, starting with the NIRF score from the Ministry of Education. Research counts for 30% in terms of engineering and management discipline, and it looks for publication volume, the quality of publications, and patents granted to the institute. Next big item is the Times Higher Education World University Rankings. Here, research counts for 30% and citation another 30%. So overall, 60% of the weightage comes from research and citations. No wonder there is not a single Indian university in top 200 rankings, the latest data for 2026, because in India we have to do better in terms of research. Only one university, Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, is in 201 to 250 band, and there are other 42 of them in the higher level bands, but not a single one in the 1 to 200 rankings. If you look at World University Research Ranking 2020 last published data, out of 240 ranks, India has only 3 places: IIT Bombay, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and IIT Delhi. Science Citation Index and Social Sciences Citation, we are behind China and the US 2024 data. And in terms of the patents granted, we are at number 5, China leading the way, followed by US, Japan, and South Korea. So this is where research counts at the end of the day. I'm sure all of you who are involved in the research, you know the basic here. It could be basic research or applied research, either experimental or theoretical. Research methodology, qualitative or quantitative. And by the way, for my master's and PhD, I had experimental theses for both the levels. Now, the real challenge is for the faculty should engage, excite, empower, and challenge all the students at various levels, undergrad, grad, postgrad, to conduct the research, which we don't see at many of the institutes throughout India. And most of all, faculty needs to spend time with the students so that they get good coaching and guidance. Faculty doesn't have much time, so students get frustrated and they can't do good research without their guidance. And faculty must encourage the creativity, curiosity, and innovativeness through the research. I'll take a couple of extra minutes on this slide. Best thing for upcoming researchers, they need to get through the methodological education on research. The course curricula should include basics on research methods, data management using the stats, ethical decision making. Why? Because while they are doing the research, conceiving new ideas, new product, etc., if the decision is not ethical, it will have an adverse impact to the nation. They should be proficient in communication, verbal, written, presentation, and they should be very good at active listening. Time management should be a big focus because in finite amount of time, one has to complete the research. Project management, that's how the research gets done, through the management of the project. And doing a project means something unknown for the first time. Risk is inherent part of the project, and they need to get some exposure for the legal perspective as well. So what I'm suggesting is there should be about 30 to 36 hours a semester course on research methodology. And how do we teach this course? Not the usual way. It should be taught in a collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based teaching learning way. And later on, I'll expand upon this philosophy of collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based teaching learning. Simple acronym CEO. And happy to share that during 22-23, AICTE, Atal Academy, FDP started using this model where faculty across India started learning in a different way, not just attending the session online and at the end of the week take the MCQ. If they're lucky to get the right score, they get a certificate. Otherwise, it's just a participation. No interaction, no collaboration, no learning from the experiential way, from the state-of-the-art articles from various industry, etc. And it should be taught in a team fashion. They work on a team project, put together the report, and share the findings in the class. This innovative pedagogy and continuous assessment will allow them to do great research with the meaningful results at the end of the day. How do we build the capacity of the researchers? They need to be proficient in the technical area they are working on. That is given, but that's not sufficient. In order to survive and thrive in the global economy, they need to focus on the soft skills. And the reason behind it is if you are a technical person, scientist or engineers or any medical profession, etc., we do projects throughout the life. Now, how do you ensure that the project you are doing is meaningful and you are able to deliver it on time within budget and meeting the performance objective? That's where you will need leadership, outstanding communication, great decision making, management of the time, work in a team, including problem solving, and then do great project management by keeping in mind the risk management as a fundamental aspect of the project management. One need to be the lifelong learner. And I'll tell you, at my age, I'm running 81. I constantly read through the Harvard Business Review, MIT Sloan Management Review, McKinsey Quarterly, Inc., Forbes, etc., articles of interest. I remain current so I can give the best to my students in the classroom. And we should learn from the global practices around the world and bring it back to India as appropriate. Now, the importance of communication and outreach is very critical. The communication skill, as I mentioned earlier, you need to be proficient in verbal and also non-verbal counts, written, presentation, and active listening. All four are essential. It comes with the practice. And I'll give you one simple example. There was a technical organization, people with 25 to 30 years experience. All of a sudden, a new person joins who is good with technical aspects, but outstanding with the soft skills and ability to get things done. So very good with the soft skills and collaboration among others. He got a promotion in a short time. So those who were there for a long time got frustrated, met the manager. He sat all of them down and said, okay, I can hire all of you dime a dozen, but to find a rare combination of good technical understanding, but outstanding soft skills and ability to work with others is rare. And that's the reason he's getting promotion. So keep in mind, progress in life eventually will come only when you are very good at soft skills. One need to get the timely feedback to improve the research outcomes from the guide, and collaboration among successful researchers, both nationally and internationally, is very critical. The institute should create a meaningful pathways, open up some resources so they can do that, and encourage the research finding for application to benefit the society. So there is a good return on the investment. Excuse me. In terms of talent recognition, I'm suggesting that to young researchers should be mentored by the experienced researcher. One experienced researcher can mentor 3 young ones. And those who are mentoring others, they should be given incentives. and recognize and reward the high-performing researchers as appropriate through a recognition process, which should be institute-wide, and provide resources so that the young researchers can make presentation at national and international level, encourage both all items like research, teaching, publications, and patents, and celebrate the breakthrough ideas with great impact to the society. So, case in point, COVID-19 vaccine development by Bharat Biotech. That was a excellent breakthrough research which benefited India and other nations as well. At this point, I'm going to stop sharing and any questions we may have. So, as a moderator, kindly let me know, are there any questions? And we'll have to keep moving. So either there are questions, then I'll clear them. If not, we can keep going. So please let me know. Dr. Pankhuri.
Yes, sir, there are no questions from the online participants as well as the offline as of now.
Okay, fine, no problem. We'll keep going. I'll be back to sharing the presentation. So give me a second here. And all the participants are requested to provide their questions in the chat box, please. Now let's begin the second aspect, the education excellence. And I'll want to start with the current landscape. This is an eye-opener. I was talking to Dr. Sri, and he mentioned that 65% of India's population is under the age of 35, close to over 900 million people. And that's a huge demographic dividend. But when you look at the second bullet, you begin to wonder, is it a demographic dividend or a demographic curse? Because 83% of the unemployed workforce is under the age of 35. 24-25 placement season, around 30 to 39% of registered IIT students were not able to find a placement. And if IITians can't find a placement, what about the rest of the colleges and universities in India? So we need to ask two questions. Are these people who are graduating, do they have the right skill to serve in the global economy? And ultimately, at the end of the day, where does the responsibility lie for the current state of affairs? So we have an issue of unemployment and underemployment in India, and that thing is growing. This thing needs to be tackled at the national level. And national education policy is one of the best way to do it, provided we are willing to go through it and do it at the nationwide basis. Now, this one, I'm just going to start with the current paradigm. Most of the places, students memorize and vomit it in the exam. We need to have a paradigm shift, go from memorization and vomiting to concepts and application. I won't describe the left side, the current state. All of you know where we are. I'll focus on the right side, where we need to be globally competitive for education and applications in the industry and in any and all domains. Our learning method needs to change. It should be based on inquiry. And I've been teaching on the ground in India, various business schools, engineering colleges since year 2000, and I hardly find anyone asking questions. Brilliant students, but they never ask questions. Academic curriculums are not aligned with the industry needs. We hardly have any interfaces. And the biggest gap is soft skills are lacking in the curricula. Need to improve the quality and include it in the system level and the curricular level. For the faculty, they need to have the industry experience. Either they have the experience and they become the faculty, or while they are a faculty, they can do projects in the industry, taking students with them and continue to build up the industrial knowledge. Fortunately, in my case, I had 18 years working experience in the industry before I joined academia. So my students were benefiting both from the theory and the practice. And as a faculty, we need to continue to renew and upgrade the knowledge. Otherwise, if we are stale, how can we give the state-of-the-art knowledge to our students? And industry participation is extremely important, and we don't do enough of that. Bring the people from the industry, your alumni, and prominent industry people on the advisory board at the department and the university level. Sorry to say, the last item, in India, we don't respect the alumni. Here in the Western world, we put them on the pedestal. They bring a lot of resources, both financial as well as the knowledge-wise, what is the need of the industry. They work with the institute and develop and help improving the curricula and make them state-of-the-art. So these are the challenges we are facing in India, and we need to have a good introspection where we are and where we want to go. Another aspect which national education policy touched upon is the lack of value education in India. Now we talked about the new center, which is focused on one of the components I saw was ethics. So faculty should impart these values to build the character of the students and make them great citizens of India, useful to the world. Grounding in ethics, honesty, and integrity, compassion for others, practice of non-violence, practice of truth, respect for elderly, respect for the environment, reverence for the teachers or the gurus. And they need to be instilled with the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, not to cut down people, but build people up. As Sri mentioned up front, knowledge, skills, and attitude. This is the triangle of success. For knowledge, where do we go? We go to the colleges, universities to get the fundamental, basics, theories, information, facts, and figures. That part, I think, is getting done. But left side, when we look at the skills, that's a major gap. And we'll expand upon it towards the end of the presentation, soft skill for success. And on the right side, the attitudes, where does it come from? It begins with the environment at home, what our parents do, and then it moves to the schools, colleges, universities, your peers. You learn from them, and hopefully you become a good citizen, not to copy from others, not to cheat on the exams, and the scandals we are hearing of cheating on the exam papers, etc., is a shame. And I'll talk a little more about it when time comes towards the end of the presentation. So you need all three, knowledge, skills, and attitude to be successful in life. Now let's look at what Albert Einstein is talking about on education. He says it's the cultivation of curiosity and critical thinking rather than simple accumulation of facts. So we are generally getting it wrong. Mugging up facts and figures doesn't do any good. If you understand by asking questions, be curious about the subject, you can go down to the basics, fundamentals, the principles behind each item, and do some critical thinking, introspection, and then you begin to understand what the real situation is, rather than memorize and then forget about what it was. At this point, let's see if there is any questions coming. Dr. Pankuri, let me know. Any questions so far? And I hope all of you get the signal that asking question, you learn more. And there is not a single dumb question. The question which was not asked is the dumbest question. Any question, Dr. Pankhuri? I can't hear you.
So no questions.
Looks like no questions. I hope as we move forward, there will be some questions. Otherwise, it's a monologue, which doesn't help too much. Okay, moving on in the interest of time, and I'm watching my clock here as well. Let's dive into the effective implementation of NEP 2020. So for everybody's knowledge, July 29, 2020, we are approaching 6-year window. NEP 2020 policy was approved by the central government with a 15-year journey by 2035, implement all aspects which are mentioned in the National Education Policy, which was put together under the great leadership of Dr. K. Kasturirangan and his team. Dr. Kasturirangan passed away last year at the age of 85. It's an outstanding policy, 66 pages. If you have not read it, you can download it. It's available on the internet. It's a great work done by the committee over 2.5 years, looking at the best practices from around the world, and they came up with a recommendation what India needs to do to be the superpower of education. So, implementation side, AICTE chartered the committee on implementation, and I had the honor to serve as an only person from outside of India to work with 9 other distinguished faculty from various parts of India under the leadership of Professor Sanjay Dande. And the committee met during the daytime, and with the time difference, I was able to provide my input through email on a daily basis. After the meeting was getting over, every day I'll get a communication, I'll provide my input. Next day they will discuss, and whatever was appropriate was incorporated. And incidentally, I was the only one with the knowledge of industry and academia. Rest of them were all academics, expert in their academics, but very little industry experience. The committee decided on 9 items, and I'll expand upon motivated, energized, and capable faculty as item coming up shortly. The work done by the committee was published as an op-ed picked up by skilloutlook.com on January 29, 2021. There was a very specific guidance, and those who have interest can click on the link. It's a 2-page article. Short term, within 1 year, what needs to be done. Medium term, 22 to 25, and those both windows have closed. And the last long term, 26 to 35. And we'll do a little bit of soul searching when I come to a few slides down the road. So let's take a look at the implementation of NEP. It is a huge project spanning 15 years. It's a great transformation journey, akin to going to Mount Everest and coming back safely to the base camp. Now, how do you do that? So the mountaineers do a lot of planning, preparation, and training. And with the same vigor, we need to approach NEP 2020 implementation, preparation, planning, and training. Now, in terms of planning, we can use the Dr. Deming's guidance, his cycle, which is plan, do, study, and act. What he says that 10% excellent plan coupled with 90% flawless execution, will bring success to whatever things you are trying to do, including implementation of NEP 2020. Remember, planning without execution is futile, but the execution without planning could be fatal. And I'm sure those who are in the business school know about Dr. Deming. He was the stalwart of quality management, quality movement. He, along with Dr. Juran, went to Japan, sent by the US government to rebuild the industrial economy. And Japanese had lost everything. So they learned the quality management, quality improvement from the gurus. And they have perfected, and now their products are one of the finest in electronics and automobile industry. Prior to that, during World War II and after early time after the World War II, there was a joke, product made in Japan was more of a joke. So planning is a foundation for research, managing your project, etc. I've seen in the last 40 years, 16 change management, transformation, change management journeys in all different sectors, 2 in education, India and US, 2 in government, Egypt and Turkey, corporate sector in USA, 8 different entities, professional society, 2 in the US, and 2 NGOs, non-profit in the US. And there is an excellent framework for performance excellence, US Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework, started in giving out awards, and that is about creating best of the best organization and getting the award at the national level. And a lot of places around the world have copied this process and modified it for their use, including in India. Tatas have adopted since 1990 Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework, and because of them, that application of Baldrige principles and criteria, they have grown tremendously in terms of the market capital. And happy to share that I've been delivering project management and risk management courses at global level from 2008 onwards. So for change management to be successful, transformation to be successful, one need to think about 3 pillars of success. One is the leadership, which provides the direction. So the leaders create and lead the change. To implement the change, you need the people. Talent management. So employees are the one who are going to implement the change. And to do it right, you need to have project management as a backbone. And that's a technical aspect of the change management. And the research shows that only 25 to 30% of the change or transformation projects are successful, simply because underlying project management is only successful for 25 to 30% world over. So that is where one need to be focused on great project management with the help of leaders and using the talent of all the people. Another observation I have is the change management is only successful when 3 C's are working in concert, in collaboration. So the CEO at the education sector, it is the vice chancellor, director, or the principal of the institute. They are the one who lead the change. CPO, Chief People Officer, equivalent of VP of HR at the industry level, which is missing at the academic scene. And that is one recommendation I would make. Consider having a CPO, HR vice president, who will have the responsibility of bringing the right talent to the institute, and they will bring the talent to manage the change. And CFO, they are the registrar who manage the finances. So when 3 C's collaborate, they can carry out the change management successfully. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I have to cough and take some water. So let's do some soul searching. As I mentioned, we are on the 6th year of a 15-year journey for NEP. So you have to look at entire India scene, what is happening for NEP implementation. So if you are at an institute, you should ask the question, are we implementing NEP? Who is involved? Is it one person or a team? Is there a strategic plan designed and deployed throughout the stakeholders base, internal and external? Are they reviewing the progress on a periodic basis, quarterly for sure? And if the results are good, are being shared, or if they are not good, is it being shared on a regular basis? You will be amazed to find out most of the places, they will have either one or two people working on a sideline to work on NEP, report higher up only, nobody else knows, best kept secret. And at the end, they will all say, we have done NEP and we are done. They are all ready to claim the credit, but real work is missing. So one of the situation is at the Ministry of Education level, they should be providing overall oversight. They should be the one asking the question for all the institutes, where are you in the NEP journey at the 6 years window? And incidentally, I wrote a letter to Minister of Education, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, 2 years back, suggesting workable ideas how to measure the consistency across institutes throughout India for higher education institute. Kindly stay muted. Thank you. All I got was within a day, response comes, I have received the email. 2 years, over 2 years have passed, not a single action, no further communication. So it's very unfortunate, people who have ideas to share and help India, there's no reception at the India level, and which is not a great thing. So challenge is 6 years, what have we done? And this should become a challenge, because if the way things are going, when 2035 comes around, we'll ask the question, what is NEP 2020? And that should not be the right way to do it. So here are 12 key challenges. If we have a sound structure to implement across the entire India, and sorry to say that several states, particularly in the South, have decided not to implement NEP. So national education policy, it applies to all states and all union territories. If we don't have it applied at all states and union territories, it's not a national education policy any longer. Generally, the engagement of alumni and industry expert is missing. Communication of the strategic plan regarding NEP is hardly to be seen. Fourth item is very critical, K through 12 school system to HEI's interface. It falls in the crack. Uniform implementation across all HEIs throughout India, that's the biggest item, number 5. Unfortunately, in India, we do not have a culture of success and failure sharing. If you do some good things, it should be registered with the Ministry of Education as a best practice so others can benefit from it. And if you have failed, that should also be a learning point for others so they don't fall in the same trap. We need some change agents and do the pilots to understand what's happening at the ground level. 9 and 10 belongs to the highest level of leadership, the vice chancellor, the principal, the director of the institute. that they should understand what is their role in terms of sustainability and what things they have to do in terms of commitment, support, and involvement, and not to delegate it downward only. And their commitment, involvement, and support will be the essential ingredient for successful implementation. As I mentioned, NEP implementation is a huge project, so fundamental of project management and risk management are necessary and critical. And unfortunately, at the India scene, we are not doing good in terms of managing projects. Take a look at the Ganga Action Plan. Since mid-80s, huge amount of money has been allocated, who is benefiting the middlemen. And Mother Ganga is getting polluted by day. And it's a shame. And I went to Banaras Hindu University for my undergraduate degree. So when Ganga comes to Banaras, it's highly polluted. It should not be that way. And proficiency in soft skills, starting with the faculty first and then all the students. So these are the challenges, and here is some suggested solutions with a streamlined project structure to manage NEP. So create a council with the top leader in charge at the institute level, appoint a faculty as a champion with the lot of experience done, and put together 3 major clusters, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals in alignment with the ICT guidance. On each of the cluster, put a trio, the faculty, the alum, and industry expert like Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, based on their expertise and experience, proven track record to get the results, and positive can-do attitude. And they should be the willing volunteer. And then develop vision, mission, and values, the strategic plan for implementing NEP, communicate the plan, provide relevant training on project management, risk management, and sustainability to all the relevant faculty, starting with the top leaders, and use project management discipline to measure the NEP progress, quarterly review, share the news through newsletter and intranet within the stakeholder community, hold everyone accountable for project results, and this is where Ministry of Education oversight should come in play, and celebrate the success when you achieve the good results. Unless we have a resolve to do this thing in the right way, it will become a joke at the end of 2035. We'll be at the square zero to restart the whole thing. And it should not be that way. And happy to share that in June 2025, Civil Society magazine out of New Delhi, we had a almost 40 minutes interview on phone, and it's written up, and the link is shown here. Around 130 educators and practitioners, some of them current VCs, retired vice chancellors, retired directors, etc., made the comments about the interview on challenges for NEP and solutions. Okay, any questions at this point on NEP 2020? Dr. Pankhuri. Kindly let me know. I'm not able to hear the question. Is there a question? If not, I'll keep moving. Dr. Pankhuri? I think from the Sudhamani hall, there is a muted microphone, so I cannot hear anything. If there is a question, let me know, please. You are muted now, unmuted. So kindly ask the question, please.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So as from the university level, year on year, we are having the alumni meet that is happening across all the campuses. We have been inviting alumni across the world. We have been connecting with them, and we are slowly building our networks. So just to add on, would you like to suggest us any more steps here to build our alumni network?
Yeah. So I think one thing you want to do from your alumni who have done well in the industry, invite them on a regular basis throughout the year to give the talk, bring them on a board for the advisory committees at the department level, at the university level, etc. Build up a good rapport. What it will do is it will bring a lot of resources back to the institute. They will provide the financial support as well as they will bring their industry knowledge to help you develop improved curricula, what are the real needs of the industry, so they can suggest you can start some new courses to meet the needs of the industry, etc. So get together is fine, social aspect is one. But how do you respect them and how do you engage them throughout the year? Also, you should think about having the annual alumni awards program where you select, depending on how many alumni you have, 6 to 7 or up to 10 alumni every year to get a different category of award. Those who have done well in the industry, those who have started their own industry, the entrepreneurship award, those who are entered in the academia, who are the outstanding faculty, recognize them. Those who have done good work in the public service, recognize them. So keep building the rapport with your alumni, and that will benefit. And it's very satisfactory for the alumni to give back to the institute, provided the institute care about them. And that is what is not happening at the India level. That was my comment. Here we do lot of these things on a regular basis. There is alumni association. A person, a small group is working with different alumni, bring them on board. And I sat on the Illinois Institute of Technology, my alma mater here, on the Alumni Awards Committee for 4 or 5 years and able to select more alumni who gets recognized for their outstanding work. And that brings positive energy from the alumni for the institute. So that will be my short answer. I'll take one more question if there is one. Otherwise, I want to keep going so that we finish and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. One more question, please, if there is one.
There are no questions, sir. We can continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now I'll dive into the innovative pedagogy for improving teaching learning processes as a part of the NEP 2020 implementation. So I want to re-emphasize what's the role of a faculty. They need to do these 4 things. 1, to engage through group activities and peer learning. Excite your learners, students, and all the other learners, the importance and application of a topic. Empower them by providing relevant resources, and ultimately challenge them to find the solution themselves for the problems they are going to be tackling. So engage, excite, and empower. And if you have done that well, they should be ready to solve the real world problems. And when you have a higher expectation from them, they will come through and do very well when they get placed in the industry. Now, I've been teaching since 1993, and I figured out that in the industry, success came from teamwork. So I wanted to simulate that same model in my classes starting from 1993. So I want my students to be involved in their own learning. And when they learn, they need to apply that knowledge right away on a live project in a team setting, and then share it across the teams within the group, across the various groups, and throughout the class. Biggest thing in the Western world we do is we leverage peer learning and big class interactions, which is almost missing at the India level. So we need to do better in terms of peer learning and class interactions. And so the model is very simple. ILAS, involve, learn, apply, and share. And incidentally, all of these items have been folded in AICT Atal Academy FDP's program for 22-23 onward. So here are the 12 keys to engage the learners for their benefit. So think of it this way: faculty is a transmitter of knowledge. Students are the one who are at the receiving end. Both of them need to be completely in tune. And in order for your learners to be fully engaged, here are some good strategy. I've been using it for a long time. So assign a topic to research and share in the classroom on a rotating basis. Share importance of the topic and real world applications so that students can get excited. And ask a topical question as an icebreaker at the beginning of each session, and keep rotating it with different students. And without fail, at the end of the session, ask everyone to give one key takeaways for common understanding by all students. You can do short polling or a voting, or arrange the role play. You can set up small groups to discuss and report back to the entire class. Form the team to work on the projects, and teams share their project results. You can invite guest speakers for sharing their broader perspectives. And last 3 items, as a faculty, you must share the basic concepts and principles, so there is no need for memorization and vomiting. Allow curiosity and innovativeness to flourish in your classroom. And most of all, continue to replenish your knowledge so you are at the cutting edge and you can give the best to your students. And if we do that, we get the gold star as a faculty. Now, since 2016, when I went to India at my alma mater teaching under Gyan program by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, now Ministry of Education, they invited some 600 faculties from around the world. And at my institute, there were about 4 to 5 different faculty. Most of them alumni came into the institute. I was lucky to be invited as one for a 30-hour course on project management. And at that point, I designed my program so that it was collaborative for the attendees, working in teams, scientific guidance, and they had to do a lot of introspection and reflection with leveraging the peer learning and the class interaction. So again, simple acronym CSIR, very famous at the India scene. collaborative learning rather than just solo learning as a faculty, where you attend something, you retain something, and at the end, you don't know what you have done. Interestingly, the average teacher will explain the complexity. However, the gifted teacher will reveal the simplicity. We need to take on the difficult and most critical subjects and try to understand and simplify them so that you can give the nectar, the best to the students so they get to understand and benefit from it rather than dazzle them with BS. So according to Sanskrit, in Sanskrit, there are many forms of teacher. We begin as a person getting a PhD or a person with industry experience coming as a applied faculty. You are Adhyapak when you share the info. Become Upadhyay when you are adding knowledge to the information. You become Acharya when you start sharing skills. You get to get the title of Pandit, the insight. Don't keep muted, please. Thank you. You become Drishta when you share the visionary thinking. And ultimately, in your life towards the end, you become the Guru when you share the wisdom. So we all travel through this journey, the expectation or aspiration to become the Guru in your own field. And keep in mind, the faculty educates students by engaging, energizing, entertaining, and empowering them. So here is the simple model I described earlier: collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based, acronym CEO. So think of putting the teams to work in the class, working together in a cooperative fashion on a live project throughout the semester, experiential. So in my class currently undergoing at Northwestern University, I have a very small class at the graduate level, 7 students. So 2 teams, 1 4 people, 1 3 people. Experiential, they read 8 state-of-the-art articles from MIT Sloan Management Review, Harvard Business Review, McKinsey and Company, etc. And they are required to do the project as well as understanding from the state-of-the-art articles and summarize them. I'll share the simple technique how to read the article and summarize. And it's all outcome-based reflection and implementation focus. Kindly stay muted. I hear the microphone coming off at a few places. So we read a lot of articles, but at the end of the day, it gets all mixed up. We don't remember what we read. So in order to retain and get the best from the article, I request my students to read the article individually, then within the group, do the discussion, and then put together a 2-page simple summary focused on 3 items. What are the key principles and practices? 3 to 4 bullets for the entire team. Short space, 15% of the space on the 2 pages. Middle portion gets the lion's share, application of principles and practices by connecting the dot between the theory and the actual practice they've been done in the previous job or the current job. By name, they put down the input in the middle portion and 3 to 4 key bullets of the key takeaways from the article as the last item for the entire team. Now, they need to spend quite a bit of time understanding what the article is, what the essence of the article comes through this summary, and then they do debate, more like intellectual warfare against each other within different groups to understand everybody else's perspective. I found this is the best way to get some good knowledge and nectar from the article, which you can remember and store it away for the rest of your life. And last item on this innovative pedagogy is the reflection journal. On the last session, they have to fill out one page identifying 3 items. One is 3 key learnings. What was the outcome from the course? 3 key lessons, the concept they will implement, and a brief on their implementation plan for 3 key lessons. Each one of them takes some time to put together the reflection journal. And this was also included in the Atal Academy FDP's program. And these are essential things to ensure that there is a focus on implementation at the end of the day. And incidentally, I've been teaching for 33 years now as a senior faculty here in the US. They don't question me because I don't give any midterm or the final exam. But I have a continuous comprehensive assessment ongoing throughout the 10 weeks, 16 weeks program. So discussion board individually, 1 week, every week, there is a topic of discussion relevant to the topic we are covering. First post and 2 post responding to the 2 different people in the class. Article and case reading, discussion and summary we just saw the sample is a team base. So entire class, I give them single grade on the item 2. As long as they do good job collaborating with each other, they get the best grade. Third, team project report as a team and presentation in the team. So that's all team based, and individually reflection journal at the end. So a simple comment, at India scene, we are spending time on exam and exam and exam, but we don't know what the outcome of that is. I've taken so many exams in my first 22 years. At this stage in my life, I don't remember any of them, what I wrote. I do not find any of that useful in the workplace when I joined in the industry. So it's a waste of time on the part of faculty, and it's creating the headache and havoc about the theft of the exam papers and the scandals going around it. It's become a big business. Sorry to say, our focus should be to measure the learning ability through project and continuous assessment, not through exams only. So we should implement those things as best as we can. And happy to share that for implementation of NEP 2020, I've been advising and coaching in 10 different states and 3 union territories throughout India. Shown here, items in bold are where I had multiple engagements. So what did Nelson Mandela say to us? That education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And NEP 2020 is that powerful weapon. I think we need to put together an excellent plan to take it forward throughout India. Now, in the interest of time, I'll continue and finish the presentation so that we have about a few minutes left for Q&A at the end. Soft skill for success, next segment. So when we look at all the latest surveys, the executives are clamoring for better soft skill over hard or technical skills from the new hires. Last bullet is eye-opener. It says the ability to work in a team is most desirable attribute of new college graduates ahead of problem solving and analytical or quantitative skills. So students are good at technical skills, but they ignore or do not pay attention to the soft skills. And that's what is hurting them to get a good placement. Even if they find a job, they can't make progress and they can't grow in the job because they are lacking basic soft skills. So with the help of the Professor Anil Kumar Agrawal ji, Professor in charge of training and placement at my alma mater, this was around 3. In 2022, we designed a simplified soft skill programs, 6 sessions, leadership, decision-making, time management, teamwork, project management, and career development guidance. We are happy to collaborate with AICTE and Atal Academy, Alma World from the World Book of Records, and State of Uttarakhand Ministry of Education, Department of Education. We are collaborating with us. 6 sessions, they're all listed here. And this link here. And this presentation is with Dr. Pankhuri. Please share this with all the attendees. You can go ahead and click on this link, which will open up all the resources we have kept at one place. That is the presentation, PDF, the recording, and feedback and everything is at one place. In the interest of time, I'm not showing the link here. And the sessions were highly effective. 3 questions, overall 99.5% satisfaction, learning new concepts 98.7%, and applicability in study and work 96%. Happy to report that so far these 6 YouTubes are running at 92,000 views and counting. So in 2016, when I was visiting India, Swami Nikhaleshwaranandji, shown in the middle on the top right picture, took me to Bizek studio in Gandhinagar, capital of Gujarat, where Commissioner of Higher Education, Mr. A.J. Shah, now retired. He gave me 45 minutes to talk about effective time management. We connected with 450 colleges throughout Gujarat, 500,000 students, 5 lakh students were participating on live program. And it's recorded, shown, the link is shown here. And very happy to report that since 2013, supporting soft skill for success in 20 states and 4 union territories of India. In academia, 100 or so different colleges, universities, in corporate houses, Tatas, and in public sector units, BSNL, and National Academy of Indian Railways, etc. So it's a very fulfilling to share, including the NGOs, Ramakrishna Missions, and several NGOs on the West Bengal, etc. So let's look at what Swamiji Vivekananda says on education. He says education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. And he argued against just memorizing facts, stating true education builds the character, expands the mind, and makes you self-reliant. And his core teaching focus on discovering the great potential you already have inside you. So we should take this to heart and try to do our best to become the great educator, great researcher, lift India up in the eyes of the world and become the best nation in the world. Now, at this point, I'm going to share a highly, very important TED talk by Dr. Angela Lee Duckworth on the theory of grit, that is the passion and power of perseverance to succeed in the long term. It's an excellent YouTube, so let's listen to it, and then we'll wrap it up.
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged. It wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure. Things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, And we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you.
Excellent commentary by Dr. Angela Lee Duckworth. Think about it and reflect on it. Do you have a passion for what you are doing? And if you have a passion, need to have a long-term plan to persevere and be successful at whatever you do. So in summary, for India's sustained progress in scientific advances, it's imperative to cultivate scientists who are capable, empowered, and proficient in research, teaching, publications, and patents. As a faculty, focus on engaging, exciting, empowering, and challenging students for effective learning. And we need to adopt at all HEIs innovative pedagogy and continuous assessment to improve our teaching learning process, say goodbye to current way of teaching and learning. And all HEIs need to include soft skill in their curricula. So at this point, I want to congratulate Dr. Shekhar Babu, Dr. Pankuri, and all the technical team for organizing this important symposium at the Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham Mysuru campus. And with that, we are ready to take any questions for the 7 minutes I have left.
Check. Namaskar, sir. Sir, can you hear us?
Yes, definitely. I would prefer if you have a question, type it in the chat box and then I can answer it. Because once you open the microphone, the sound becomes a little bit of an issue for the recording of the session.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Sir, if a group form the majority of the assessment, what is your suggestion for creating a rubrics that ensures both accountability and fairness for every team members?
Yeah. So when the team is formed, and I'll give you my practical example. Currently, I have teams in the works, one doing the knowledge management project. Other one is working on effective training and learning process for a company. So we assign various specific roles. One becomes the team lead with the responsibility to make sure that the project is successful. One person becomes the communicator who will communicate internally within the team and with me as a sponsor. So that's the only person from the team. If there are questions, they communicate with me. One becomes the researcher to go and do further digging about the background of the topic. And one becomes the editor to edit the project report with the help of all the members and also make the presentation slides. So with the specific role assigned, is the role of the team leader is to ensure that everyone is pulling their weight, and they're putting the project together for the success for the entire team. And I assign a same grade to all members of a given team, provided they work diligently and given their input on a timely basis. I trust that makes it clear that with the specific roles and a good oversight from the team leader, you can have a very successful project.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Let's have 4 minutes left. Questions?
Good morning,
Keep
sir.
it focused. Yeah, go ahead. Good morning.
So thank you for the presentation, sir. So my question is, when the team is formed, initially the members are motivated and they were curious, but as the time passes, one will show no interest, and there will be some discrepancies within the team, and they will be fluctuating. How to handle such situation and keep them grooming throughout the completion of the project?
Yeah, very good question. And this is the role of the team leader. They need to keep their eyes and ears open and see, are all members doing their piece of the work? Because collectively, everybody's input pulled together becomes the team's output. If one or two people out of 5, 6 people slack off, somebody else has to do the work, which is not fair. So when that situation arises, team leaders should be vigilant and work with that member of the team on a sideline. Find out what is keeping them not to contribute, what's coming in the way. Sometimes it could be some personal reasons or some issues popping up at the family level, etc. Find the better solution for them, suggest some good ideas, and also make sure that you expect them to do their work on a timely basis. If they don't, they may be replaced if you have a choice. And when the team does a good work and milestones are achieved on a regular basis, you should celebrate, because that brings up the positive morale among the team members, which we don't do enough of it. We just beat up on people, but forget about praising them when they do good work. So continuously keep the morale up by recognizing them for their good work and good input. I hope that helps.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Hello, sir. Sir, we see India as a diverse primary education policy, and for the higher education, when it comes to higher education, a different state follows a different education policy, as well as and level of quality of education is different across India. So and also for higher education, we require a lot of infrastructures to implement NAP and to build a successful NAP. And many states are refused to, especially South Indian states are refused to because of the lack of infrastructure. So what is your comments on this, sir?
Yeah, so I'll leave it very simple comment. Because of the political differences, several states have decided to boycott NEP, let me put it bluntly. So that includes Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. And that is unfortunate, because if it is a national education policy, it should be uniformly deployed throughout India for the benefit of India, for the benefit of everyone within India. So that's my comment one. And I don't want to get into the politics. Why people are doing that, it's their issue, their choice. But it should not be that way. That's item one. Secondly, when NEP 2020 policy was formulated, implementation was suggesting that 6% of the education budget should be kept for education and NEP deployment. You go and do the audit, it's nowhere near 6% for education in your budget at the state level. So that's the answer to your question, lack of infrastructure. And biggest of all is the lack of leadership on the part of the highest level of people, vice chancellor, the directors, the principal at the school and the university level, where they are not willing to take on this challenge of implementing NEP 2020 because they don't want to get into it. One, secondly, they don't understand their role, what role they need to play in order to take it forward as a leader. They need to be fully engaged, involved, committed, and supportive. You can't just say delegate it to next level or level down, then nothing will happen. So these are some basic fundamental issues regarding transformation, change management. There is an excellent book by Professor Carter, John Carter from Harvard Business School. He's a retired professor emeritus, KOTTER. He is known as the father of change management. His philosophy should be learned and adopted to take the implementation forward throughout India. So that's my brief comment on it without getting political about it.
I have a question. When we are working as a team,
Yeah.
nowadays actually we are working in a remote and we are working as a team. So more than actually the technical challenges and all those things, based on your experience, how to actually overcome the personality conflict within the team? You
Yeah.
can actually throw some light on based on your experience.
Yeah. So when two people or more work together, the conflict is likely to happen. The friction will come. So first of all, when the team is formed, it's the team leader's role is to ensure that the team is functional. So there's beautiful work done by Patrick Lencioni, Lencioni, Lencioni. He has written about 8 to 10 leadership fables, the book. One of the book is Five Dysfunctions of a Team. Patrick Lencioni. You can do the Google. And
Okay,
his
sir.
paper, yeah, and what he talks about is that you do the quick audit out of five dysfunctions, something like are the team members trusting each other by sharing their strengths and weaknesses? Secondly, are the assignment given by the team leader clear? Then they can accept it and move forward. Hold them accountable for what are they given to deliver, and make sure that everybody is working on their issues rather than sitting there and wasting time for the team. So any of this dysfunction is there to start with, team leader needs to remove that dysfunction, and then the entire team is firing away on all four or six cylinders. So they are highly effective and get things done. And as I mentioned before, they need to continue to motivate them through recognition and remove the obstacles, give them additional resources as needed. Next.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. I think we have run out of time here. We can wrap it up if there are no further questions.
Namaskar. So any other questions? Either from online or offline? Okay, thank you. So as we come to the close of this enriching session, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Mysuru campus, I extend our sincere gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Dr. Manu Vora, for delivering such an inspiring and insightful session on creating a research ecosystem in India through education, capacity building, collaboration, and talent recognition. So, sir, your valuable insight, vast experience, and inspiring thoughts have provided us with a deeper understanding of this importance of research, collaboration, and academic excellence. So, we truly grateful for your time and for the sharing your expertise with us despite the geographical distance. I also express our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sridhar Ramurthy sir for his gracious introduction of our distinguished speaker and for being part of today's session. So my sincere appreciation goes to all the registered delegates for their active participation, and also I thank management, the organizing committee, and the technical team for dedicated efforts in making this session success. Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you all. Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya. All the best to all of you. And I'll take your leave now. Bye-bye. Bye.